Hi, this is Jennifer Ottinger, and today I'll be speaking about cataloging community cookbooks. I'm a graduate student at the University of Southern Mississippi in the Library and Information Science program. I'm also earning two certificates, one in archives and special collections, as well as the other in youth services and literature. Today, my discussion will be about community cookbooks, their history, the collection that is at the University of Southern Mississippi, the reasons why you would want to add them to your collection, some of the difficulties that occur while you're cataloging community cookbooks, how to catalog them, and some examples. Community cookbooks started around the time of the Civil War. One of the first community cookbooks was made in 1864 and has the following inscription in it. When I wrote the following pages some years back at Oak Lodge as a pastime, I did not think it would be of service to my fellow creatures, for our suffering soldiers, the sick, wounded, and needy, who have so nobly fought our country's cause to maintain the flag of our great republic, and to prove among nations that a free republic is not a myth. With these few words, I dedicate this book to the Sanitary Fair to be held in Philadelphia, June 1864. Soon other organizations started creating their own cookbooks. These are also called fundraising cookbooks, church cookbooks, or community cookbooks. They are a great way, still today, to include recipes from certain groups in order to raise money. During the suffrage movement, they were also very popular. Women created these books not only to raise money for their cause, but also to include recipe and other information regarding the suffrage movement inside of them. Today, personal collections of them are growing, as well as in your local public library and university and archives. The University of Southern Mississippi has the largest number of Mississippi cookbooks in the world. They have hundreds of digital community cookbooks in their digital collection, which can easily be searched by typing in community cookbooks. There you'll find ones from either the 1900s all the way through today. Many researchers use community cookbooks to find answers from the past. Today's cook can also use these cookbooks to gain recipes from historical ones to more current used ones. Harriet E. Wintermute, the author of The Joy of Cataloging Cookbooks, says, many aspects of history can be discovered through community cookbooks, which often contain information about the organization that produced them. These include information about the suffrage and temperance movements, changes in America's tastes and health concerns, advances in food sciences and preparation technologies, cultural or societal shifts, various literary styles or devices, and the local community history. All of this can be found in these spiral-bound books. This is one of the community cookbooks that is in USM's digital collection. One of the difficulties of cataloging this type of cookbook is it's not as uniform as other books you would find in the collection. Why are they so difficult? Well, very few are available in OCLC, and so original cataloging must be done. Many don't have an author, editor, or contributor that is readily available for information. These can be difficult to distinguish one from the other. It's also difficult to distinguish if it's a publisher or printer. Many organizations publish these themselves while sending them off to a printer merely to print them. So is it a publisher or printer that you're including in the information? Also, many times the date of creation can be omitted. The date is just left off and makes you need to have to find and do some investigation. This is another book in the collection at the University of Southern Mississippi. This one has no organization that's attached to it. This would have been just single recipes that were bound together to be given to a bride. So with this not having a group associated with them, the lack of authority is really missing. In this particular cookbook, each individual recipe does have the contributor's name in here, but are they considered authors or contributors? It's very difficult to distinguish between the two. How to catalog community cookbooks. First, you have to find a title. Many have similar titles. All 4 of these are in the catalog at the University of Southern Mississippi. They all have the same name, yet are from different organizations from different towns. When you're trying to find a compiler, is there a group associated with the cookbook, or is it from somebody's personal recipes? Is there a year involved? Many do not have a year, and you have to look through to find either the individual authors and go through genealogy research, or look at the advertisements, or when a building that they mention was erected. Also, when you're including the publisher information in the record, many are self-published, and the publisher is truly just the printer. There were only a few printers that printed these type of cookbooks around the United States, and so every organization from all over would use just these few printers, and so many ended up looking alike. Here are some examples that we're going to go over. The University of Nebraska Lincoln Libraries has many community cookbooks in their collection. They've created a template that looks like this with mark records so that when they do receive a new community cookbook in, they can just input the information into the different fields. Here are some examples from the Library of Congress. The one on the left is what the catalog would look like when you were searching for community cookbooks. The one on the right is the mark record. One thing that's very important with these community cookbooks is the 500 field. That's where you can get creative and make sure that the information that you have found through the cookbooks are known. Here's another example from the Library of Congress. Once again, the catalog information is on the left, and on the right is the mark record. Dublin Core is also used when cataloging these types of books. UC Santa Cruz says the Dublin Core metadata element set is one of the simplest and most widely used metadata schema. Originally developed to describe web resources, Dublin Core has been used to describe a variety of physical and digital resources. Dublin Core is comprised of 15 core metadata elements. This is something that the University of Southern Mississippi uses for their digital collection. Although they do have mark records for their in-person catalog, this Dublin Core is used for the digital collection. Here is a list of the metadata element set used for Dublin Core. Some of it is very, very similar to mark records. Let's see some differences between mark records and Dublin Core. This is one of the cookbooks that's in the University of Southern Mississippi's collection. Here's the mark record. Once again, if you look at the 500 field, there's at least 3 that note that it is spiral bound, that the title is on the cover. This one, they did not have a date inside the catalog, inside the book, and so they did have to do a little bit of research. Once they determined that church, that from Oak Grove Methodist Church, they were able to guesstimate the age around 1966. For their digital collection, this is what it looks like for Dublin Core. If you go online to their collection, you can find this resource. Here it lets where I'm circling, you can see that it's English, the Library of Congress, definitions, who the creator is, and other information. Now, because this piece of information is transcribed in order to be able to have greater searchability, that's why all the recipes are transcribed here. The list goes on and on and on. I'm speeding through it so you can see the length of time it takes to actually see the entire record, but also that this is all transcribed so it can be searched through the catalog. If you're looking for a specific recipe, You could just type that in, and if it was transcribed correctly and then cataloged using the Dublin Core method, you would be able to find it in the catalog. Here's another one that we've used earlier. This is for the Recipes for the Bride, and here is the mark record. Once again, this is one that the date was not written on anywhere in the book, so there had to be some research done. Because this one does have handwritten recipes, some of the contributors wrote their names, and through genealogy research, they were able to distinguish what year this was from. This is going to be around 1955 or so. Here's the Dublin Core record on the same cookbook. You can see up top it has information with the Dublin Core terms, and further on down it's going to give the Library of Congress subject headings, the language of the book itself, and any other particular information. Once again, to make this record searchable or increase its searchability, it is going to have each individual recipe transcribed in order for you to be able to find it in the catalog. This one's one of my favorite cookbooks at the University of Southern Mississippi because it is handwritten and the way it looks, but also for some of the recipes included in it. This one has directions on how to toast for your lighter dieting days, and even near the end discusses how to boil water. If you get a nice clean kettle, fill it with water, put it on the stove, and wait till the water dances. This also has brackets that you'll see in other catalog records in order to have the cataloger write some particular information that wasn't found in the book, but to help describe it a little bit more. When it comes to cataloging community cookbooks, it can be a little bit trickier than a regular book. But with some fun investigation to find out the history of the book, where it came from, who created it, or just to enjoy the recipes, community cookbooks can be a great inclusion in your library at home, at your local public library, or in your special collections or archives. Thank you very much for listening to me today and learning a little bit about cataloging community cookbooks.